And hey guys, just going to show you how to export with non-contactable meshes here. So we have 3 detailed vehicles from this example van stack I've put together. And if I hide these, you'll also see that there are 3 collider meshes, which we're going to use for the trucks to actually hit, so we don't lag, or possibly lag for anyone else. And we have a dirt jump I modeled to give us something to drive around with. We'll be exporting these as 3 separate objects for rigs of rods, the first one being the non-contactable vehicles here, then we'll export the contactable vehicles, and then the jump. In order to do this correctly, what you're going to want to do is join together the stuff, the 3 visual vehicles. Do that with Control J. I'll hide those again. Then you can join together the 3 contactable vehicles, again with Control J, and then we have the last dirt jump separately. Once you have them all joined together, the best way to avoid anything not lining up in game is to make sure it's lined up in Blender, and we do this with the little origin point here. This is the cursor, this is the origin point for each object. For right now it's already kind of set right here, but for example if it wasn't, if this was set over here, maybe this is over here, and then also the collider's over here, I want to make sure all of these points are at the same spot, so that the coordinates in the terrain file, the TOBJ, can all be the same, and then it's much easier to just put it in game and start driving on. So in order to move this around, what we can do is select all of the objects with double tap of A. We can hit Shift C to move the cursor back to the origin point of the blend file, which is at the point where all the axes meet. And then we can go to Object, Transform, Origin to 3D Cursor, and now they are all, regardless of the ones I select, at that point is where the coordinate will be placed in rigs of rods. So now that they're all set, I'll just make sure to scale and rotation is set, and then I can go ahead and export this, and I'll show you guys how to deal with the files. Alright, now that we've exported, I'll just show you what the files need to look like in order for the collision to work and for the box collider to not be visible. To start off, this is what a normal ODEF file is. It's just the object definition for rigs of rods. This is where you put the mesh that you're using. And in this case, we're doing the dirt jump, so it will be the same both visually and physically. So you'll drive over what you see exactly. Here, this is what the mesh will look like. So whatever mesh you place here will be the one that you see in game. And then inside the begin mesh, end mesh section is where you define the mesh file that you'll be colliding with. It's a jump, dirt jump, so you want to hit the same thing that you're looking at. This is just how you declare friction settings. There's a whole bunch of different ones you can use. And then you finish the file with end. From there, this is the vehicles one, so this is where it changes just a bit. Same thing as before though, for formatting, this is the visual mesh, so this is the detailed mesh of the cars that I exported. And then you begin mesh, and now here you use a different mesh. This is the vehicles collider, that is the box vehicles, the very blocky ones that we want to be able to hit and not worry about frame rate. Again, I set it to gravel, just to have some sort of friction on it. You can do whatever you want. And then end mesh and end. One more thing to note though, there is no need for a material file to be exported or created for the one you don't see, the box collider object. As you don't see it, there's no need to create one. Moving on, in the TOBJ file, which is where you put all of the objects onto the map, as you can see, the coordinates are identical and nice and clean. This is because we exported with all of the origin points at the same spot in Blender. They will be placed at these coordinates, and they will all line up since they were all lined up in Blender. And you have the jump, and you place the vehicles, because the vehicles is also the name of the ODEF file. These are not the mesh files, these are the ODEF files. Just keep that in mind if you want to change the names of something. And then in the terrain file, I just basically set up a blank one from the flat map, just took everything else off of it so it would have a nice little grass texture. The start position is the same as the TOBJ. For this example, we're going to spawn in the middle of the jump, but for most tracks you would just position where you need it to be. Otherwise, just make sure the TOBJ file that you're using is the name listed in the terrain file, and you're good to go. I'll show you what it looks like in ROR, and then you guys should be good to go. Alright, we've gotten everything in game now, we've done all we need to do, now we can just make sure it works. As you can see, all there is to see is the jump and the 3 vehicles we selected, all in high detail. There's nothing inside of them that you can make any note of, no colliders to be seen, it's as if we didn't do anything special at all. If I go to the truck here and I just drive around to where we are, and I roll over this nice and slow, you'll notice there is no frame rate issues, and you can drive nice and clean right over the vehicles as if there was nothing special done to them. If you wanted to do this for freestyle, just make sure you crush some stuff down if you want to make it look like you crushed the cars. Otherwise, these will work just as need be. If you have any questions, let me know. Send me a message. If you guys want a couple more tutorials, let me know. I'll try to put something together. Otherwise, hope you guys enjoyed this and found it useful, and I'll see you guys when I see you.